Hi everyone, today we're doing 6-6 and it's going to require you to do some mental math. Hopefully it's just finding percents mentally, and so you'll have to be able to chunk the numbers, and if you absolutely cannot do that, then I'll teach you how to put it in a calculator. So the instructions say when working with common percents like 10%, 25%, 40%, and 50%, it may be helpful to use the fraction form of the percent, and it's provided all of these fraction conversions. So if you know that 75% is 3/4, you might not be able to figure out what 75% of a number is, but you might be able to think about, well, I know that something's 3/4 of that number. So there's just a couple of options when you're thinking about percents. So these are all here. If you're told to find 62.5% of something, that's kind of hard to think about. But if you are trying or told to find 5/8 of something, that might be easier for you to think about. So the first example says find 20% of 35 mentally. 20% of 35. 20%, if you look at our cheat sheet, is a fifth. So if we think rather instead of 20% as 1/5 of 35, well, if we took 35 and divided it by 5, we'd get 7. 7 is 1/5 of 35. Therefore, 7 is 20% of 35. Here are our problems. Find the percent of each number mentally. Open in a window. I'm going to go back and open up my answer sheet. For some reason on this one, usually I have an option right here. Hold on, let me move this. Where I can click make a copy for each student, but for some reason today the computer did not feel like working the way it typically does, and it wouldn't let me do that. So what you can do if you can't type in this is just copy it all and then paste it into your own Word doc and then click turn in for that. So I think for you guys up here, there's like an option to add or create a document, which I've shown you how to do in another video. If you forgot, watch it. But you can just copy and paste this. You can go to edit, select all, and then right click to copy, and then make your new document in the lesson, and then paste it. If you don't know how to copy and paste, search it on YouTube and learn how to do that. So number 1, still loading. 50% of a number is half of the number, because 50%, remember percents are out of 100, 50 is half of 100. I'll show you a fraction conversion really quickly if you want. 50 out of 100 is equal to half. And so I'm doing what the instructions said, where it's easier for me to think about converting it into a fraction and then applying that concept to figuring out what 50% of a number is, thinking of half the number. If you want to go through all the steps of reducing this, then you could just chop off the zeros. It's like the same idea as dividing by 10. Then I'm left with 5/10, and 5 is half of 10. If I wanted to show all my work, I could divide the bottom and the top by the same number. Numbers that end in 5 or 0 are divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So 50 out of 100 is 1/2. Or you could just think about if I had 100 M&Ms and I had one friend to share them with, and we each wanted to eat half of the bag of M&Ms, then we would both get 50, because I would divide that 100 M&Ms by 2, 1/2. So then I go back to my problem. 50% I know is half. What's half of 6? 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's my answer. Number 2, 25% of 100. Well, percents are out of 100, so 25. Another way that you can do this if you cannot do it mentally is to turn the percent into a decimal and multiply it by the number that you're trying to find the solution to it. I'm making a video right now. Oh, thank you. So if I have 25% and I want to turn it into a decimal, then I just take the imaginary decimal that's currently farthest to the right and move it to the left twice. So then I'd have 0.25 and I'd multiply that by 100. Let's go to my calculator. 0.25, nope, times 100 equals 25. Let's do number 3 that way, where we turn this into a decimal and then multiply it by the number 60%. Move the decimal to the right, or from the right to the left 2 places, and I get from 60, I get 0.60 times 25 equals 15. Oops, 15. So that's the cheater way to do it. This will take you no time at all if you do it that way. Or you could actually use your brain and think 75% is 3/4 of 28. If I divided 28 by 4, I'd get 7. 3 sevens is 21. So number 4 would be 21. Good luck.